the United States?
Yeah, just the fact that I have an opportunity to wrestle for 3 countries just shows is that obviously, I have, it's just multi-diverse, background. It's so great to have, live in the United States and be able to have family that immigrated from Lebanon, that immigrated from San Marino. And, it's something I take a lot of pride in. Like, I'm obviously a U.S. citizen first. This is where I live. This is the land of the free.
Of course.
And, and I stand for everything that, the United States preaches more than any other country. But when it came to wrestling, a big thing that played the factor was, one, Lebanon, obviously, our grandfather wrestled in the Olympics for Lebanon. So, yeah, that's like there's a lot of legacy behind that. So would I have wanted to do that? Yeah, maybe, that there were so many good opportunities. It was like, 3 opportunities that were all great options. So I couldn't have gone wrong. But, Dom Abinator, he kind of beat me to the punch with Lebanon. I mean, we're both at the same weight. So he's wrestling 86 kilos, and his dad did a lot of work.
You're training for the same club.
Yeah, training for the same club. And, his dad had a house in Lebanon, so it made it a lot easier for him to get his citizenship and whatnot. He had a lot of ties in Lebanon, whereas our family, we have ties in Lebanon, but they're older ties.
Right.
And so when you look at San Marino, on the other hand, is like, I already have citizenship there. Mm-hmm. All I need to do is get my passport. I was born with citizenship, so way easier process. And just the same thing. It's just because my grandpa on my mom's side didn't wrestle, at all, or didn't wrestle for them, doesn't mean that
there's not heritage.
Yeah, there's not heritage behind it. I mean, he's the kind of guy that whenever I would tell people I'm Italian, he'd be the first guy to step in and correct me and say, no, you're San Marinese. Yeah. Like, I'd say
super proud right. to be.
Yeah, he's a proud man for that. So,
right.
Obviously I'm excited to represent something like that,
right.
something with somebody that has that much pride, there's that much heritage involved. So, so obviously it came down to the decision. Now we're breaking it down between US and San Marino. And, it wasn't an easy decision at all. I mean, I already had teammates who paved the way between Stevan Micic, Dave Habit, and then, Dom's in the process. So,
right.
It was nice to have people that had already done it and had some experience, but still there's that underlying factor of like, yeah, I don't want to be like, I wrestled for the U.S. in high school, like back my sophomore year, and I don't want to be considered like a traitor or something. I didn't even think that would happen, by the way. Like, it's kind of,
well, it's just silly.
I'll touch on that in a second, but really, so, and then it came down to like, what's the longevity of my wrestling career going to be? Because that's going to play a big factor. Like, I'm obviously, the U.S. is a much longer circuit. You got to go through a few tournaments, and then, you got to win a lot more matches just to get that international experience for a lot of the time.
Right.
And you look at the guys that are winning on that U.S. circuit, very rarely, we had Snyder and Cox who were, kind of the anomalies, but most of the guys are graduated from college. It's really hard to balance that college, trying to train folk style all the time and then jump into a freestyle circuit.
Of course.
So, I just did what was best for me. At the end of the day, I said, I might not wrestle past my senior year in college, past 2020.
Right.
And so at the time, that was my thought process. And I was like, well, what's going to give me the best opportunity then? Right. And San Marino, everything was locked and loaded, ready to go.
Right.
Besides, doing some things, which my mom and again, my mom and Bormet, huge shout out to them because they put together a lot of emails in foreign languages, and all that stuff, Italian, they're talking to some people in Switzerland and whatnot, the UWW. And besides, all that back work though, it was pretty easy process. So,
right.
And then really, I mean, I got wrestled the European Championships last year and right away, and I'm wrestling in one of the best tournaments in the world. And that was right after my college season.
Right.
So,
and I think it's important. You just brought up something too that even made me forget my words just now. But the fact that I want people to understand too that you didn't just join the team, right?
No.
That didn't have wrestlers, and now all of a sudden you're an Olympian. You had to go and wrestle these guys that were world medalists, world champs. You wrestled the number one guy in the world.
Yep.
right?
Yeah, one pound for pound.
Pound for pound,
arguably.
right?
He's Donnie?
He's probably one of the most famous guys in Europe, right? Comparable to soccer players.
Yeah.
And or should I say football? And and you had to go through that gauntlet. So I think it's important for people to know too. It's not just like you just stepped on San Marino's team and you were just like, well, now I'm an Olympian, right? You had to wrestle these guys that they were world beaters, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had a lot of guys licking their chops before they had to wrestle me.
Yeah,
because they're looking at the bracket, seeing San Marino. Like, I've been on this circuit for 8 years, never seen San Marino. Like, this guy must be horrible. You just, and then it's a great feeling to go out there. I remember even at the European Championships, it was like I wrestled this guy from Georgia, Minishvili. He was world bronze back in like 2016, and the look of just disbelief on his coach's faces after like the scoreboard, the time went out and my hand got raised. Like they were like so confused that this guy just lost to
San Marino.
Right.
Like, and so, yeah, I mean, that is the thing that is not talked about a lot by, Flow Wrestling or whoever else, is that like I'm beating guys that the US guys weren't beating.
Yeah.
Like at the World Championships, like we're talking like I had an opportunity to wrestle Downey in the quarterfinals,
right?
And he had lost to the guy from Germany,
right?
And
well, never in your life. If it's not even about. If people think it's about ducking, they're
no.
Yeah,
never in your life
you can't duck in the European circuit. Right. I mean, there's every guy you wrestle is going to be good. Right. I mean, they're either a world medalist, European medalist, there's something. So it's just so funny, like how people talk, and I'll wrap it up at this, but they say that you don't have quality opponents, and some guys above you have beaten better guys, but in reality your credentials speak for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I don't even really need to comment on like the media is always going to be the media.
The media is
media, of course.
I mean, the media is like honestly, it's one of the most cancerous things that it could be positive.
It is, and that's why I don't even speak negatively about even Flow Wrestling or whoever it is, right, that are talking about like all this stuff, saying traitor or whatever, because I do think they do a great job promoting the sport of wrestling.
There's just one person who said that.
Yeah, and it's just not worth mentioning, because I think, like I said, I mean, I'm just trying to bring a positive light. I want to, wrestling was almost not in the Olympics in 2020.
Right.
We had to save Olympic wrestling.
True. Yeah, that's something a lot of people
So the last thing I want to do is bring a negative light on the sport.
Yeah.
Like, and it's all positive for me. I'm trying to, and that's one thing about San Marino. We talk about San Marino is like, that's a country that never had wrestling before.
Right.
Me and Malik brought wrestling to that country, and we're talking about putting on clinics and, looking to start a club for freestyle wrestling there.
Right.
They have some coaches that want to start freestyle wrestling, and that's something that would have never happened had we not, made that decision,
right,
made that leap of faith.
Right. And did you guys have to fundraise at all for that? I think people don't realize too that there was no club, right? And that's something you started.
For San Marino?
Yeah.
No, we didn't have to fundraise anything, but we did have to,
because there was no wrestling program until you guys got
there wasn't. The great thing about San Marino is they're an independent republic, and
super supportive too.
They're super supportive. I mean, they don't have a lot of Olympic athletes, so for me and Mal to come in as high level athletes right from the start,
right.
They, like you said, super supportive financially. Doing everything they can just to make sure that our travel and stuff to our tournaments, there's all that stuff is just taken care of. And as far as starting the club, like they were able to waive a fee for they just have taken really good care of us. And just to make sure everybody knows it's all legal, whatever they've been doing. Right. Like it's everything that they've been doing. It's just it's been great. It's been a great support
right. And
dealing with their Olympic
going through all that too.
Exactly. It's really important because maybe they would look at us and say there's these guys from the US, they're half in, half out, but
right.
No, they're all in on us.
Right.
The Cave Talk.